I hope you have enjoyed this week and have learned a lot about Indigenous stories and storytelling. Today, we are going to be following a tradition that Indigenous people have used for thousands of years. They did this before we had libraries, before we had bookstores, and this was a really special way for them to pass on their knowledge and history. And that is by storytelling with your words. So today, instead of reading you a picture book, our friend Sarah from last week is going to read you an Indigenous legend about how the porcupine got its quills. And to go along with that story, I have made you a little felt puppet show.
Ani Bojo, Sarah Redgers, Chiging Donjaba. I'm here today to read you an Ojibwe legend by George E. Laidlaw about how porcupines got their quills. So in the teaching why the porcupine got his quill, there are three animal characters: wolf, porcupine of course, and bear. There's also another special character named Nanabojo. Nanabojo is seen in Ojibwe legends as the creator who helped form animals and other parts of creations like plants and trees that have protective factors. And Nanabojo helped each part of creation get what it needs. Long ago, when the world was young, porcupines had no quills. One day, when Porcupine was in the woods, Bear came along and wanted to eat him. But Porcupine climbed to the top of a tree and was safe. The next day, when Porcupine was under a hawthorn tree, he noticed how the thorns pricked him. He had an idea. He broke off some of the branches of the hawthorn and put them on his back. Then he went to the woods to wait for Bear. When Bear sprang on Porcupine, the little animal just curled himself up in a ball. Bear had to go away, for the thorns pricked him very much. Nanabojo saw what happened. He called Porcupine to him and said, "Hey, how did you do that trick?" "I am always in danger when Bear comes along," replied Porcupine. "When I saw those thorns, I thought I would use them." So Nanabojo took some branches from the hawthorn tree and peeled off the bark so they were white. Then he put some clay on the back of the porcupine, stuck the thorns in it, and made it part of his skin. "Now go into the woods," said Nanabojo. Porcupine obeyed, and Nanabojo hid himself behind a tree to watch. Soon Wolf came along. He sprang on Porcupine and then ran away howling. Bear came along, but he did not get near Porcupine because he saw what happened to the wolf. He was afraid of those thorns. That is why all porcupines today have quills. When I was growing up, my grandmother, who's Ojibwe, and she lives on Manitoulin Island, we would go and visit her and she would share teachings with us about animals and all of the animals in creation, and how when we used to hunt animals, they used all parts of the animal. And that included porcupine quills. We used that for regalia, for making clothing, for making baskets, for making jewelry, like these earrings. And we also used different parts of deer and moose. We used their deer hide to make drums, to make clothing, to make shelters, to make blankets, to make shakers and instruments. We also used moose hide for warmth and other instruments, bigger drums.
The library also had an amazing opportunity to talk to Marissa. This is Marissa here, and she is harvesting fish scales to use for her jewelry. Marissa is Métis, and she practices a lot of the traditional ways to harvest materials from animals that she learned from her elders. Marissa says that she is always thinking about the animals and the gift that the animals have given to her while she is creating her jewelry. Marissa says that every work she creates is like a special ceremony, and that she works hard to not waste any animal parts that she is using. Something I find special about what Marissa does is that a lot of the techniques she uses are the same as what Indigenous people would do thousands of years ago. The only difference is they had to use what they had on hand, like bones and quills and different materials that they would harvest from animals and the plants around them. Our first week of story time, we are going to be making our own porcupine, and you'll need your week 1 storytime bundle, glue, your black paint, a paintbrush or a Q-tip or your fingers, and some scissors. To get started, let's look at what is in our package today. We have googly eyes, we have 2 fall leaves, a little gray head, and 2 of these white shapes, a big blue piece of paper, and then our coloring sheets are a girl in a jingle dress, and the porcupine and a hawthorn tree. To get started, I got a scrap piece of paper and put it under my 2 white shapes. And I opened my black paint, and look at how full it is. It is this full because we have to use black paint again this month, so make sure when you're finished, you close it up tight and save it for another week. Use your Q-tip or finger or paintbrush, and I want you to paint a rainbow shape with the black paint. Look at that rainbow shape. It is so curved. It follows the curve of this piece of paper. And I want you to paint that 2 times on both of your white pieces of paper. Perfect! Looks great. Now we're going to close our black paint up tight for next week. And we're leaving this to the side to dry. While our paintbrush is still wet, we are going to use it to paint a tiny black nose on the gray head of our porcupine. Just tap, tap, tap right on the nose, and it will create a cute little black shape. Perfect. Now we can glue on our 2 googly eyes. And look! It's turned into the head of a porcupine. Our white shapes with the black arches should be dry now, and these are going to turn into our porcupine's quills. Using your scissors, start cutting thin lines all the way down the back of your porcupine quills. Don't cut them off though, you want them to stay on so they will be loosey-goosey, just like this. A great trick that I found out was if you cut right down the middle of your porcupine's back and then cut both of those halves down the middle again, it spaces out your porcupine quills nice and evenly as you cut them into thin little strips. Look at our beautiful porcupine quills. Oh, they look amazing. And now it's time for us to put our porcupine together. Put some glue on the back. I left some of my quills without glue on them because I wanted my porcupine to move around a little bit. Glue the first part down, and then what I did was I trimmed some of the quills off of the side of the front of my porcupine so that it would be a little bit smaller when I laid it on top. Because the back of a porcupine is a bit bigger than the front. Then you're going to glue that one over top of the first. Oh, it looks so good. And now we add our porcupine friend's head. Perfect job! Let's give our porcupine some fall leaves because it is getting close to winter. And there you go, our little porcupine from the legend, How the Porcupine Got Its Quills. And last but not least, never forget to write your name on your work. I hope you all have fun creating this craft and keep it around as a decoration in your house for the fall to remember everything that we learned from our friends this week. Thank you for watching. Can't wait to see you next week. Bye!